Hello student, this is Pallad Darbari, your host, and you are watching Pallad Darbari classes. In this video, we will discuss the second chapter of macroeconomics, that is money and banking. This is the first volume on the chapter money and banking. Let us see the topic that we will discuss in this chapter. We will discuss money, we will discuss history of money, and we will discuss the functions of money. Let us see the definition of money. Anything which is acceptable as the mode of payment is called money. In a very simple word, we can say money is what money does. So many people has defined money in different ways. The very common thing is money is the thing which is acceptable by all as a mode of payment. Now let us see the history of the money. The history of evolution of money can be traced back to inception of the barter system. The history starts with the barter system. With the course of the barter system, when the barter system was in practice, many difficulties arose. And because of the shortcomings of this system, thinkers invented money, a superior medium of exchange. Money in the initial phase took the form of metals such as gold and silver. After 1930s, due to the increased volume of transactions, paper money substituted metallic money. Nowadays, we have paper money as well as credit money and plastic money, which is commonly called debit card or credit card. Let us explain the process of evolution of money in detail. As I told you, the history starts with the barter system. The question is, what is barter system? Barter system is the system under which one good is exchanged with other goods. This system was going on fluently because people has realized that they are not all in all. They have to depend on other people for the commodities which they can't produce. This system was going on fluently, but it is being observed that this system is having some drawbacks. The question is, what was the drawback of the barter system? In the barter system, we were having 4 drawbacks. Number 1, double coincidence of wants. Number 2, common unit of value. Number 3, problem of storage and transportation. And number 4, deferred payment. Because of these problems, because of the problems of the barter system, people try to find out the alternatives which will not have all the drawbacks or these 4 drawbacks of the barter system. After the commodity money was passed out, metal began to be used as the medium of exchange. Under the metallic money system, gold and silver were the 2 metals that were of particular importance and were widely in use. Gold and silver held an important place due to the following reasons. Number 1, they were widely accepted as a medium of exchange. So the problem of double coincidence of wants need not arise. Why? Because it is acceptable by all as a mode of payment. The second reason why the people prefer the metallic money, that they were available only in the limited amount. So the importance will be there. The third reason is they are durable and non-perishable, therefore can be stored easily. So the deferred payment is possible. The fourth reason is one could easily divide gold and silver into monetary unit. So the problem of the common unit of value will not arise or will not stay any longer because of the metallic money. The thing was going on fluently, but people realized that metallic money was in the use, or metallic money is also having some drawbacks. After 1930s, it was also phased out of the following reasons. People realized that the metallic money is having two drawbacks. The first is, with time, the volume of exchange and transaction increased, and it was getting difficult to match the demand with the supply. The second drawback is, it was difficult to transfer metals from one place to another due to security reasons, because lack of safety during transportation, inconvenience in handling large amount. Because of these problems, people start inclined towards money in the form of paper. With the further rise in the volume of trade, paper money came into existence and was widely used. This form of money was easier to carry and store. Thus, it becomes a medium of exchange among almost all the countries of the world. The fourth phase came, that is bank money and the credit money. Bank money can be said to be the most convenient and the durable form of money. Nowadays, individuals frequently use credit money in the form of checks, drafts, credit cards, etc. Along with this, plastic money in the form of debit card has also emerged as an attractive medium of exchange. Right now we are using the paper money, and along with the paper money, bank money and the credit money is also in usage. Now let us discuss the functions of money. According to Professor Kinley, for the convenience purpose, the functions of the money can be classified into three categories: primary functions, and the secondary functions, and the contingent functions. So for the convenience point of view, the functions of the money can be divided into three parts: primary, secondary, and contingent functions. Let us see the primary function of money. There are two main primary functions of money. Number one, medium of exchange, and number two, unit of value. The question is, what is medium of exchange? Money acts as a medium of exchange. The question is why? Because it facilitates exchange through a common medium, that is currency. It means that it is acceptable by all as a mode of payment. So it is a medium of exchange. With the money as a medium of exchange, now it becomes possible to separate sale with the purchase. In the case of the barter system, it was very difficult to differentiate sale and purchase, because sale and purchase are occurring at the same time. But with the introduction of the money, now it becomes very easy to segregate sales with purchase. In other words, money eliminates the need for double coincidence of wants for an exchange to take place and can be performed independently of each other. Because of medium of exchange, market is no more limited to a specific geographical location. So the first function of the medium of exchange we have seen. Now let us see the other primary function of money. The other primary function of money is unit of value. Money serves as a common unit of value. When I say common unit of value, what it means? It means with the introduction of money, every goods and services is being valued, is measured in terms of money. Because we know that goods and services are having different unit. Some good is being measured in terms of liter, some is being measured in terms of gram. So it becomes very difficult to compare one goods with another goods. So we cannot even say which good is cheaper and which good is costlier. But with the introduction of the money, when every good and service is being valued in terms of money, it becomes very easy to compare one goods over another goods. So now we can say which one is cheaper and which one is costlier. And this has made different goods and services comparable to each other. Now let us discuss the secondary function of money. There are three secondary functions of money. Number one, storage of value. Let us see what is storage of value. General people have a tendency to save certain portion of their income in the form of saving and to accumulate wealth. But under the barter system, it was impossible. Why? Because goods are perishable in nature, which we use as a mode of payment in barter system. So it is very difficult to store wealth because it cannot be stored because of the perishable nature. As against this, wealth can be easily stored in the form of money because money is non-perishable nature. The store of value function of the money can be justified because of three reasons. Number one, money is the most widely acceptable mode of payment. Second is there is no depreciation. And the third is money can be stored with minimum efforts or with minimum cost. So because of these three reasons, the store of value is possible in the case of money. Let us see the second secondary function, that is the standard of deferred payment. Deferred payment means future payment and contractual payments such as loans, interest payment, etc. As money is widely accepted as a medium of exchange and can be used as to store value without much loss of value, so it can be used for future payment. It was not possible in the case of barter system. Why? Because goods cannot be held for the future payment because it is perishable in nature. But since money is non-perishable, so it can be stored for the future payment. So the deferred payment is possible. The next is transfer of value. Money can be transferred easily from one place to another and from one person to another. Therefore, it implies that with the help of money, purchasing power can be transferred. An individual who is having money has purchasing power and he can transfer the purchasing power to anyone just by transferring money. Now let us see the contingent function of money. Following are the various contingent functions that the money performs. Number one, it facilitates credit. Money facilitates the functions of credit instruments such as check, bill of exchange, promissory note, etc. Such credit instruments facilitate transfer of value from one person to another. The second contingent function is it facilitates distribution of income. With the introduction of money, it becomes possible to value services because every person is willing to give his service in terms of money. The third contingent function is it maximizes consumers and producers satisfaction. The question is how? Since all the goods and services are valued in terms of money, therefore it is possible for a consumer to maximize his satisfaction because the consumer will attain maximum satisfaction when the marginal utility of goods becomes equal to the marginal utility of money. So with the introduction of the money, it is possible to satisfy consumers' equilibrium by equalizing marginal utilities of various goods and services consumed. Similarly, all the factors of productions are valued in terms of money, so it becomes possible for a producer to maximize production. The question is how he can maximize production? By equalizing marginal productivity of different factors of production. Higher factors according to their value. The next contingent function is liquidity. The question is what is liquidity? Money is the most liquid form of all assets. Anything which can be converted into that mode of payment which is accepted as such as a mode of payment is called liquidity. Money is the most liquid form of asset. Why? Because it can be used as such as a mode of payment. Wealth, gold, silver, check, etc. is not liquid as money. So these are the contingent functions of the money that we have seen. That's all I have in this video. Thanks for watching. God bless you all. Dear subscribers, if you have not subscribed my channel, please subscribe the channel so that whenever I upload the new video, you get the notification.